Hello, I'm Tom, and I'm introducing Imane Nadif. She's one of the 10 Green Councillors on Amsterdam City Council, representing GroenLinks Amsterdam, and is the spokesperson on the circular economy, as well as sustainability, economic affairs and waste. Apologies, I thought I had unmuted. I will start again.
It's okay.
So I'm going to introduce Imane Nadif, who is one of 10 Green Councillors on Amsterdam City Council, representing GroenLinks Amsterdam, and is spokesperson on the circular economy, as well as sustainability, economic affairs and waste. Before becoming an Amsterdam City Councillor in 2018, she was active with GroenLinks in Diversity and Sustainability Working Group. Imane says her ideal city is where everyone feels at home, where outdoor space is a second living room, and where you can find inspiration through greenery and art. She believes Amsterdam's sustainability challenge can only be achieved through tackling equal opportunities at the same time. On the 8th of April 2020, the Amsterdam City Doughnut was launched, which takes global concept of the donut and turns it into a tool for transformative action in the city of Amsterdam. Imane.
Yes.
Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming. I'm going to give a presentation about donut economics in Amsterdam and the way we have handled a circular economy in Amsterdam, how we're going to implement it in our city. It started all in 2015. We did our first circular scan of Amsterdam. We were looking at what kind of initiatives are already taking place in Amsterdam. Think about thrift shopping, for example, and we started a circular innovation program. And that means that we were looking into initiatives and living labs where we could think about ideas and other ways how to implement a circular economy. This was before we started working with Kate Raworth and developing an Amsterdam donut. So in 2020, the Amsterdam donut was launched, but before that, we had a lot of work to do because we need to discuss the scan, the first circular scan of Amsterdam, and we also need to discuss, also as politicians, how we were looking at our city and its economy, because it is a very big city. Well, it's not as big as London, but it's a big city. We have almost 1 million people living in Amsterdam, but we have a lot of economic activity in Amsterdam. There's a lot of money going through, not just local, but also international. So we started, of course, and we've seen this picture a couple of times. We started with the donut itself. And the thing is, when I look at Amsterdam politics, the way we look at our economy is usually about growth, about more and more and more businesses, more money, more jobs. And when you look at growth and when you look at the current economic crisis, you actually look at a very efficient economy, but not a stable economy. And I think that's very important because I'm very happy that we've launched the donut economy model during this crisis, because it actually showed a way out of this economic crisis. So we started with a couple of questions. How can our city be a home for thriving people in a thriving place while respecting the well-being of all people and the health of the whole planet? And there are 4 things we need to discuss. So social, ecological, local, and global, because we are an international city. So we also need to think about the way that we make decisions in the city of Amsterdam affects not only the city, the region, the country, but also internationally. And also, we were the first city to launch a donut model in the world. So we wanted to give a good example. We were very happy that Kate Raworth was working together with us and with, of course, the Lord Mayor, Marieke van Doornink. And that was very good. We were very much included in the process as politicians. We actually had a presentation with Kate Raworth. We had workshops. We were talking about, okay, how do you look at a city? How do you look at the importance of the well-being of the people in the city? But also, how do you look at the environment? And how do you look at walking around in the city? What does a circular economy in Amsterdam mean to you? So socially and locally, what does it mean for the people of Amsterdam? Because when you want to launch a new idea, and especially an idea like a donut economy in Amsterdam, where we're so used to growth, economic growth, it's very important that you take the people with you. So we've also made it was very important for us so people understood what circular economy and donut economy meant. So we really made sure we have like a public document where it's very easy, very approachable to read. And also, I've actually discussed this in schools and also elementary schools, and everyone understood what it meant. So I think it's very important when you want more people to discuss this kind of economy and also to work with a circular economy. That's very important that you make sure they understand what it means and also what it means to them. So not only the environment part, but also the social part. So it's also the ecological aspect of it. Um, when Kate Raworth was talking in that video about building new houses, we've actually just started with, okay, when we build houses, how do we make sure that we do that in a circular way? Which is very difficult because you've also have to deal with national laws and restrictions. But we've actually made a lot of progress, and one of our living labs is Backsloterham. And there we've actually, people have developed houses that were built circular. And that was very amazing to see. I will also leave a link towards those living labs so you can see these kind of examples in real life. So, okay. We've also done social and global. So, what would it mean for Amsterdam to respect the well being of people worldwide? Just like I already explained, a lot of our economic activity affects the region, affects the country, affects internationally. So, we've also, because of our contacts with these international companies, and I'm talking about banks, I'm talking about investment banking. Not all the most green companies. But even with Shell and with KLM, so the airport, Schiphol, we've had these conversations about how they can implement a circular economy. It's not going to be perfect, but I really think it's important to make the first steps. And also ecologically and globally, what would it mean for Amsterdam to respect the health of the whole planet? And when you look at it from a municipality point of view, you're always very busy with thinking, okay, what's the best for the city? What's the best for the people in the city? But also as a city councillor, I think it's very important to understand how does your decision making affect the rest of the world? And I think by launching the donut Amsterdam Donuts, it was very helpful, not only within circular economy and sustainability, but also other parts, the way we work, to think about, okay, our responsibility doesn't just stop at the limits of our city. Our responsibility goes much further than that. So I think it was very good for us to also discuss this, not just for implementing this idea, but also the way we do think about politics on a municipality level. So this is our donut. It's a really nice donut. The three crosses are actually the emblem of Amsterdam. And we've discussed a lot of things. There were three, yeah, three things we wanted to discuss. So food and organic waste streams, and we've had three ambitions. I'm not going to discuss them too much. There's also a document where there's a lot of explaining about how we're going to tackle these problems, and I'm also going to put the link in the chat. So these three ambitions, we've worked with shops, with supermarkets, but also with people, with the people of Amsterdam. There are a lot of beautiful initiatives. One of my favorite initiatives is actually a Facebook group where people of Amsterdam just, when they've had food, when they've been cooking and they still have food left, they just give it to other people. And it's a beautiful system. You see like pots of soup. And that's so beautiful about a circular economy. It's not just about waste is not just about sustainability, but it's also about connecting people and connecting them to these values that you respect the planet and you respect each other and that you help each other out. So I think this is one of the most beautiful initiatives, not the biggest initiatives. I mean, we also working with um, uh, places like the RAI, who are doing a lot of big events and how they can reduce waste, but also with supermarkets. So that's very interesting. Food is such a big problem when you look at how much food goes to waste. It's, I think, for me, especially when you look at poverty in Amsterdam, I think it's one of the most important things to tackle. So consumer goods. I've worn this. I've bought this in a thrift shop. I, I thought, okay, I'm going to wear this especially for today. I think it's a very important that the city, the municipality of Amsterdam sets a right example. So when we've looked at how can we reduce consumption and use what we have more sparingly, and also think about where we buy the things we buy as a municipality. So local businesses, but also sustainable businesses who are also a part of a circular economy. I think that is very important. When you set the right example, you also make sure that these companies, especially small companies, these startups who are responsible for these kind of initiatives, get the income so they can grow. Because as a municipality, you're a big client. So I think that's also something to take with you when you are discussing these kind of things. And the third one, we've already discussed it a little bit, that's the built environment. And this is it's a very complicated and very complex issue when it comes to building, because in Amsterdam, we have a really big problem when it comes to housing. We don't have enough. The waiting list right now in Amsterdam for social housing is, I believe, 15 years. So, for example, you can get a house at the age of 33 in social housing. I don't think a lot of people want to stay with their parents till the age of 33. That's my daughter. And I'm going to go downstairs in a minute. Okay, so what's important that the city sets the right example by formulating circular criteria. I think that's very important, but at the same time, what we've also seen when it comes to building houses, when you don't have the right laws, when you don't have the right legal tools, you don't have a lot of power. So I think it's also important for the municipality to make sure that nationally this issue is being discussed, so you make sure that you have the right laws to implement these circular criteria. I think that's very important. And also, of course, a circular approach to the existing city. My favorite word, transformative. So I think it's important when we discuss things like sustainability, when it comes to more equality, when it comes to circular economy, it's very important to look at it with a transformative approach, because the way we think about economy now, when it comes to growth, when it comes to profit over people, we really need to let go of that idea. I know that not every political party is ready for that conversation, but we're getting there. So these are some of the tools and methods we've used for implementing the donut economy in Amsterdam. So a city portrait, donut workshops, donut deals. Those are very interesting when you work together with local businesses, but also initiatives and people in Amsterdam or with students. We have the College of Amsterdam also has a circular, actually Kate Raworth is one of the professors right now, and they have this lab when they discuss the circular economy and also help local businesses with a circular approach. Have to check the time. Okay, so we have enough time for questions.
5 minutes.
Sorry?
5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So actually, I'm already at the end of the presentation. I will also leave the links in the chat. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear them.
Okay, we do have a few questions. Thank you very much. That was really, really interesting, and it's great to see so much going on, I think. One of the questions being asked is, how about the private sector? How are they engaged in all of this?
Well, what we do is that's actually the donut deals. So we have the Amsterdam Economic Board. We have a lot of collaborations with the private sector as a municipality of Amsterdam. We also help businesses, not just local businesses, but big businesses in Amsterdam as well. So because of that relationship, it's very easy to also discuss things like a donut economy. And they've actually also signed up for donut deals about the way they buy in, the way they. I'm not going to say they're going to change the way they do their business. I don't think a big bank is going to do that, but it's a start. So we've actually done that with donut deals, and it's a little bit of marketing, but it's also a way to get a foot in, and also not just for us as a municipality, but also for those small local initiatives when it comes to a circular economy, because that's the way they get into those big businesses or private businesses.
Okay, thanks. Mike Chitty asks, is there a reason why the whole of Randstad, Rotterdam, The Hague, Utrecht has not got on board with Amsterdam?
Well, we're not fighting with each other or anything. It's more because we, as a municipality of Amsterdam, started with the donut economy, and actually, one of the proposals I've done is, okay, we've done it as a city of Amsterdam, but I am 100% sure that the city of Rotterdam, the city of Utrecht, but also internationally. So the city of Amsterdam is actually working on how to share these experiences and best practices with other municipalities, not only in the Netherlands, but also internationally. And I know for a fact, because we've had contact with, for example, Berlin, with London, with Paris, but also with Rotterdam to implement the donut economy.
Okay, thanks. Martinovic asks, where is resistance coming from and how are you dealing with it? Assuming there is some, of course.
Well, a lot of people really love the idea of a donut economy, but I think when you look at our education, when you look at also the things that when the donut economy was first introduced, a lot of people were, what are you talking about? Economy is about growth. That's the most important thing. And I think it's very difficult for people to let go of that. And I've also said earlier, profit over people is a very hard concept for people to accept, which is it's actually, when you think about it, it's not humane. But I think when it comes to donut economy, a lot of people need to let go of the things they've been taught, the things that are considered normal in our society, because that's something we need to let go. It's not profit over people, it's people over profit. It's the environment over profit, because without an environment, we have nothing.
Great, thanks. How much, it's a slightly modified Alexi Diamond question, is how much knowledge is there among the people of Amsterdam of donut economics? How widespread is it and how popular are the ideas?
Well, actually, because we've been working a lot with sustainability, we also have the roadmap to sustainability, and that's actually very popular. We've done research and we've done polls with the people of Amsterdam, and a lot of people think, and I think that's also, you see that in election results. We are the biggest party in Amsterdam. Is that a lot of people consider sustainability and the environment one of their top priorities. So circular economy is a very easy and accessible, approachable way to discuss sustainability, because mostly when we discuss sustainability, it's very about technology and about energy. But when it comes to a circular economy, you make it more close to home, I'd like to say. So it's very popular, and thrifting is very popular in Amsterdam.
Which is, of course, sort of part of dealing with the inside of the donut rather than
Well,
the outside.
let me tell you, we have King's Day once a year, and actually, it's the birthday of the king we celebrate, and we celebrate it by thrifting. So we go outside, we we put a blanket and we sell our old clothes. So that also says something about our culture.
Right. Um, has the donut economy changed any of the funding decisions made by the city council as a result since it was introduced?
Yeah, it has changed when it comes to building. It has changed when it comes to buying in by the municipality of Amsterdam. And we're actually going to discuss our economic relief plan for local businesses, but also other businesses in Amsterdam. And a circular economy is part of that. So we, as a municipality, decided with each other that the donut economy, a circular economy, is going to be a part of the way we see the economy in Amsterdam. So it's very much embedded in our DNA now.
Right. Something that a couple of people asked is there any move to setting personal carbon budgets?
Not yet. I mean, what do you mean? As a municipality?
Well, so telling people that this is their carbon budget that they need to stick with. You're doing that as a municipality, I guess.
We're doing it as a
I,
municipality, yes. But for the people, no. That's a very interesting idea. It's something that in the Netherlands, when you look at environmental organizations, already are. It's something that's talked about, but not implemented in policy.
okay. And then there's transport always seems to be popular, but somebody says having a car means easily exceeding a personal carbon budget, even with electric vehicles. Will Amsterdam stop building new homes for motorists? Utrecht is beginning to do so.
So we actually have, when it comes to transportation, and my colleague Zeger Ernsting knows a lot more about this, but we've actually have a plan for less transportation in the city. And it's a really big plan. I don't know everything about it, but I'm sure I can find the information quickly and put it in the chat. But that's also a part of when it comes to reducing air pollution. But also when you look at how much space cars take in a city, it's a lot, and you actually want to use that space for the people, because especially when it comes to housing, you need it for people to okay, for example, there was this street with parked cars, and the people actually said, we don't want parking spaces here. And they removed the cars and they just put in plants and benches, and it looks so beautiful. And I think open space is so important for people. So yes, transportation is a very important part of that.
Okay, thank you very much. It says your experience of nationally centralized control of building regulations, which is certainly something we suffer from in the UK, and prevents us in England at least from requiring buildings to be passive house or equivalent. Are you able to progress that? Is that a problem for you? What are you doing about it?
Well, actually, right now we are going into our national elections. So I think that's something that will be discussed, but I don't think something on the short term will change when it comes to building regulations. I think it's going to happen next year. But what I also see when it comes to sustainability and the other political parties is that it has taken a lot more place when it in their political programs. So I expect change next year, but not right now because it's election time, and my experience that not a lot of things change during election time.
Sure, but has it been a problem for you for doing what you're trying to do with the donut?
Well, yes, because um it's not that I want to brag or anything, but what I see is most of the time municipalities, because they're closer to the people and they're closer to the outcomes of their plans, are a lot more forward thinking than when it comes to national policy. So I think that's our biggest issue, and I know there are a lot of discussions between municipality and national policy, but it looks to me as if municipalities should deserve more freedom to, for example, implement circular criteria when it comes to building. for example, because otherwise we won't have any progress. So we've started with it, but we need more legal measures.
Okay, well, I think that's all been really interesting and really helpful, and sort of seeing just what can be done anyway. And I just find it really powerful and engaging. So many thanks.